Let's turn to the terrorism we saw unfold in France over recent days. Senator Lindsey Graham said, even though it wasn't here in the States, it was an attack on our way of life, and, quote, there's a perfect storm brewing to have this country, the U.S., hit again. Do you agree with that?
I do. We have some very dedicated men and women who have done an extraordinary job of keeping America safe. But we also know that as I speak to you here today, I know for a fact that there are thousands of people around the world plotting to kill Americans, both here in the homeland and abroad. And eventually, it is my opinion, and I hope that I'm wrong, but it is my opinion that eventually, it's not a question of if, but when, at least one of those plots will get carried out. And it may not be a 9/11 in the sense of how spectacular it would be, but it could be something like what you've seen in France.
How do you prevent that from happening? Is there anything that the Obama administration should have been doing or should be doing now that it's not?
Sure, it should be capturing terrorists in the battlefield and trying to get useful information from them through interrogations for useful intelligence.
You don't think the Obama administration is trying to do that now?
We don't capture terrorists anymore. They get killed because there's no place to take them if you do capture them. Guantanamo is being closed down. I mean, if bin Laden had been captured alive, they're not sure what they would have done with him. Where would they have sent him? There's a real question as to all of that. We don't do that anymore. That's the problem. That we're no longer gathering intelligence from the prisoners that we've taken off the battlefield. Today, what they do with terrorists is they kill them, and obviously there's a role for that in all of this in terms of degrading the capabilities of these organizations, but we're not gathering enough useful intelligence. The other thing, and this is not a criticism of the Obama administration, there are people in my party who want to do this. We cannot afford to undermine the tools that we use to gather intelligence to prevent these sorts of attacks. Now, obviously, we have to protect the privacy expectations of Americans, but we have to understand that these terrorists communicate on cell phones and they communicate online and they use these methods of communication. And all of these disclosures that have been out there from Snowden and others have allowed these terrorists to adjust their tactics to prevent us from accessing information on them. And more of these disclosures we have and more of these legislative efforts that we have to undermine these programs, the less intelligence we're going to gather and the less capable we're going to be at preventing one of these attacks from happening.